Hey guys, how you doing? Austin here, going live. When I decided to go live a little early, let me close this door real quick. So we are here for the FOMC meeting. So we're waiting on that. We're going to talk about a few things before we get to that. So drop in the comments below. Or the chat. Let me know you guys can hear me. You guys can hear me good. Let me know. Please, please, please. Audio, kind of an audio check just to let me know you guys can hear me good. Please hit the like button as well so we can tell the algorithm that we're here. So let me know you guys can hear me. Somebody give me an audio check. Cool. You're good. Thanks, Jonathan. I appreciate it. All right. Thanks, Shiva Eternity. Sounds good. Excellent. All right, guys. So I'm sure you know by now that the 75 basis point raise came out. We did get that. We got what we were expecting. So thanks for that, Tom. Appreciate you. Thanks, India. Welcome. So we did get the 75 basis points raise. And so we're going to get into kind of what this means, how it's going to go. And thanks, Naz. Appreciate that. Thanks, Gerhard. Welcome, guys. Got a lot of good people here. Cool. 400 plus people. You guys hit the like button. And if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the channel. Hit that subscribe button below. So I'm doing something different today. I'm dual broadcasting on Twitter, actually to Clear Crypto's channel as well, and my channel, Twitch. I'm doing a lot of different cool stuff today. So yeah, thanks for coming out and hanging out with me. So appreciate you. So Jerome, how's it going? Steve, how are you? Welcome. Robert, morning where you're at. How you must be on the West Coast, maybe, or on the other side of the planet, maybe. Depends on where you're at in the world. Chowdhury, thanks. Welcome. Dave, welcome. 7 days. You guys, welcome. Thanks for spending some time with me. All right. Okay. So, hey, Sean. Sean's been, what'd you say? Sean's been waiting since 6:30. That's crazy. It's cool. So good. Cool. All right. So let's do this. So when this thing goes live right here, you see it, we're going to watch this live because we're going to be watching to see what Chairman Powell has to say, right? Because that's really what we're after is what is he going to say or not say? Is he going to have the bearish, hawkish comments? Is he going to have the dovish, can't make that up, bullish comments, all that kind of stuff. So let's take a look real quickly. Let's see what's going on in crypto. CoinMarketCap was giving me some weird data earlier. Okay, yeah. So now it's starting to looks like it's working right. So we've been flat all day leading up to this decision. You can see that we're up basically 0.64 right now. Bitcoin is lifting a little bit. Ethereum is obviously lifting up as well. Let's see what we got. Dogecoin lifting up 3%. This is on the 1 hour, by the way, that I'm looking at. You see right here. SHIB's up 2% on the 1 hour. So we're starting to get some lift. Uniswap, let's see like what are our big on the 1 hour. Let me see what our big movers are. So yeah, Dogecoin is the big one on the 1 hour right there. Okay. So yeah, so there we go. So let me show you. Let's see. So we're waiting on this. Okay. And what's something else I wanted to show you something else. I'll come back to that. Okay. So we're waiting on this to go when in about 15 minutes, we're going to switch over and kind of watch Chairman Powell's speech live, and I'll pause it and we can chat about various components of it. All right. So what do you guys think? Do you guys, what was the 75 basis points basically, did you think that's what we were going to get? I think it was. So what are your guys' comments? Let me know your thoughts. There you go. What is this? Deval, what's the impact and how does the market will behave, bullish or bearish? Okay, so great question, Deval. We can see right here that the overall market is starting to lift a little bit. So let's look at it. So like we're still 0.64, but you can see things are starting to lift. Let me show you the stock market. So you can see the stock market earlier, about 10 minutes ago, I'll pull this right here. The stock market, the Dow was up 320 points. So it's backed off a little bit of that. But again, I will say this. I've been saying this leading up to this. We were expecting the 75 basis points raise. What everybody's going to be focusing on now is what is Chairman Powell going to say in his speech that starts in approximately 14 minutes. That's what we got to wait on to see what he's got to say. I'm also going to remind you, remember that we've got a jobs report coming out later this month. People are still quitting their jobs in just masses, and that's not a good thing. And kind of when you're looking at kind of the macro view of the economy, all right. And we've got another CPI, Consumer Price Index report, coming out as well in November. And beyond that, we've got a December 13th and 14th FOMC meeting as well. So we got a lot of stuff still on the horizon, if you will. So it looks like what do you guys? A lot of you guys thought that we would get the 75 basis points, which is pretty much what I was kind of expecting. That was built into the market. And I want to see if crypto's lifted yet. So we're still holding steady at this 0.64. Ethereum's starting to move up. It's moved up 2% on the hour. Bitcoin's a little lagging. And like right here, we've still got, look, Dogecoin, we just looked at it about 3 minutes ago. It was up 3%, and now it's up 3.67%. So what do you guys think about, man, Elon taking over Twitter? I think he's going to revolutionize the game, man. It's going to be awesome to watch how that all goes down. I think that Elon/Twitter Dogecoin is literally the spark that's going to kind of start to move the overall crypto market. Somebody said, Jonathan Cart said Cardano is moving. Really? Let's check that out. I love it. Cardano is one of my favorites. So let's see where we at. Cardano. Yeah. Cardano's up 2%. So that's looking good. So Cardano is one of the early bigger movers. It's right in here. It should be, it's right. It's got to be, well, there's a lot in the 2% range. So it's going to be a little bit further down on this list. There it is. This number, that's that one. But yeah, ranking wise. So let's see. It's funny. This number's not moved. It's interesting. 0.64. I think there's a lot of data coming in. Okay. Let's see. Musk owns the evidence now. Love the Elon. Yep. Angela, thanks for that. Definitely hit the like button if you would. And if you haven't already done so, if you're new to me, hit that subscribe button. I cover crypto a lot every single day. I'm here for you guys, trying to help you navigate crypto. Hey, Luna Classic. Yeah, let's take a look at Luna. Luna's been trending down a little bit recently. Let's take a look at that real quickly. Let's see if it's being impacted here. Yeah, so Terra Classic's on the lift too. Look, it's up 3% on the 1 hour. So it's lifting up because of the FOMC, the Federal Reserve information as well. All right, so let's see what we got. So the Dow, you can see it's backing off a little bit. So it was up 319. Now it's up 204. So we'll kind of see how that bodes. There's your word of the day today. So yeah, so things are looking okay. This number's not moving. Let me check CoinGecko real quickly. Hold on just a minute. Gecko, if it's showing the same data. Yeah, see, look, CoinGecko is showing a 0.9 lift. Got similar numbers here for Bitcoin, Ethereum. Shows 2% up. Let's see what we got. Dogecoin. See, but it's only showing Dogecoin up 1.5%. On the hour. Solana, Polkadot, SHIB's up 2.5%. I'll keep this one up. It's a little big. Let's minimize that. Oh yeah, no wonder I had it like huge. Okay. All right, there we go. Okay, cool. All right, so let's see what else we got going on here. So drop in the comments. Let me see what else you guys want to talk about that. Jeremy, thank you for Austin. Don't fully understand crypto. You bet, Jeremy. That's what I'm here for, just to help you kind of navigate. I like turtles. There you go, Derek. That's cool. It's good stuff. Prediction on Doge, man. I'll tell you, this is going to be craziness. I'm assuming you guys saw this, right? This tweet, which happened, I think it was 24 to 36 hours ago. This tweet is what moved Doge and kind of kept it back up over, 13, 14 cents. It was moving it like 20, 30% up in one day. Here's the deal. We know beyond a shadow of a doubt, Ron, that Elon's going to embed and going to make crypto way bigger part of the Twitter platform. We know that he loves Doge. And he likes, well, he's obviously very crypto friendly, but Doge, I think, will be front and center. There you go. So that's what I think. But as far as a prediction, I mean, if it gets back in the 20-25 cent range, I think by the end of the year, I think that's very doable as long as we continue to get kind of, some stuff coming from Elon, all that kind of stuff. So there we go. See, Dangerous Moogle, you should show your puppies. My dogs are here. They're actually in a bedroom 2 doors away with my mother. My mother is a retired nurse. She's a retired RN. She helps out with the family, helps out with my son and all that kind of stuff. And so she's actually uh, literally got them in the room with her. They're on the bed with my mom watching TV so that they can be quiet while I'm doing this live broadcast for you guys. I thought ahead of y'all because otherwise they would be losing their stuff and barking at every single person or every crazy. They'd be barking at me because I'm live streaming. There you go. They're not good. They don't make good choices. Did I already speak on Shiba Inu? We did touch on it a little bit, but let's take a look real quickly for you guys because we got this right here. We're waiting on the FOMC live broadcast of Chairman Powell going live. So we're waiting on this. So when he goes live, we're going to switch over to this. So let's take a look real quickly at SHIB. Let's see if this number has changed. There we go. Okay, so it has gone up. Or it's gone back down 0.5. I'm just looking at everything as I look down here. So Dogecoin is nicely lifting 3.6. SHIB's up 2.4. This is kind of in line with what that's on the 1 hour, by the way. This is in line with what I was expecting. We will see how the rest of this shakes out. I'm going to remind you, okay, that the 0.75 basis points raise that we got today from the Fed is the number we were expecting. Okay. You guys have seen, I've been doing a lot of videos. My thumbnails have been saying, today, tomorrow, all that kind of stuff. So this is the number we were expecting. We had a minor chance of a 50 basis points raise. We didn't get that one. But we were expecting the 75. Okay. And so this is why we're not. What's good about this is that we're not getting the downward movement. We're not getting the down movement that we thought we might have had a possibility of. And the reason we're not getting the downward movement, meaning like the stock and crypto market all of a sudden kind of going down dramatically, is because, again, this is the number that it was expected. This was the number that we kind of felt like we were going to get. What we're going to be watching for on Chairman Powell's speech is, what's he going to forecast for December? Most likely a 50 basis points raise. But what really we're looking for is his comments about the economy. And so SHIB is going to move along with that, right? So we are waiting on a major announcement from Shiba Inu, kind of a medium blog update post. We haven't gotten that yet. That's going to basically encompass, all the other things. This is my wife. Hold on. I got to tell her something. Hey, baby, I'm live streaming. I'll have to go. Okay. Bye. She forgot. I told her twice that I was live streaming, but she forgot. So there you go. My wife calling me. So there we go. All right. So Daniel, what do I think about Dogelon Mars? Daniel, I'm kind of famously on record for the fact that I like Dogelon Mars. I've always kind of scratched my head at the utility because they're going to be, quote, the crypto of Mars. I love that. And I love the whole project and how strongly and firmly people believe in it. I don't cover it a lot on my channel. I have done videos on it, but it's a great community. And so that's basically how I feel about it. So there you go. All right, cool. Let's see. You're welcome. No problem. Somebody said, thanks for doing this live. I clicked on that. So cool. Somebody was asking me my immediate price prediction for SHIB and Doge. I think that here's the thing. Doge right here. Let me go back over to my screen here. So Dogecoin, right here, right? Doge is up 3% on the 1 hour. It's still down, obviously 1% on the 24 hour. I mean, I think here's what I would say. We've still got the jobs report. We've still got midterm. We have November elections. That's big. And we have the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, data report, right? So if all of those kind of go fairly well, I think that Doge, and we get something out of Elon Musk about, like, specifically maybe some type of at least a high level roadmap from Elon on how or what he's going to do with Doge as it relates to Twitter. I think that Doge could go to 20 plus cents within 5-6 weeks. I think that's entirely doable. If any of those variables don't come in in line with kind of or maybe they're negative, if you will, then I think we might stay where we're at. I don't expect Doge. I do not expect Doge to go backwards from here, unless we get like a really bad earnings report, not earnings, but jobs report or CPI report or something like that. Okay. But we did get a good GDP, the gross domestic product for Q3 actually went up. So we got a good report there. Okay. So SHIB, I think kind of similar. Here's what I would say. Shiba Inu is going to be dependent on, let me show you this real quickly. Shiba Inu is going to be dependent on the market. We are supposed to get a update from the Shiba Inu dev team. Like kind of like a medium blog update, kind of a post on kind of updating us on everything, including Shibarium and all that. So I think if we get that and we don't get a bad election or viewed as a bad election, if you will, or tumultuous, if you will, and we get a decent earnings jobs report. I almost keep saying earnings jobs report, and we get a decent CPI, then if the crypto market starts to pick back up, SHIB will rise along with that. I think we could get back to maybe 1.5-ish in that range, kind of in the next, for the rest of the year. Because you got to remember, for the rest of this year, we've got all those things. We have elections, we have a job report, we have a CPI report, and we have another FOMC Federal Reserve meeting on December 13th and 14th. That's a lot for the next 2 months. Oh, by the way, we have Thanksgiving and Christmas and all that kind of stuff. So there you go. So, oh, I love this one. Thanks for the question, Steph. Do I have a timeline for the Ripple case? Man, that's things so back and forth, Steph. I think that it could be. I think we might have some resolution, and at best case at the end of maybe sometime in the first quarter. But I'm not expecting that. I think it's a mid to third quarter scenario in 2023. All right, so that's what I got for you. So yeah, cool. So yeah, Brandon, AMA tomorrow. Who will be on the seat on the Clear Crypto AMA? So if you saw the previous AMA that they did when they launched, it will be some very key members from the Clear Crypto team, just again, laying out kind of the vision and things like that. And by the way, I am dual live streaming to the Clear Cryptos channel, in case you didn't know. And for those of you guys wondering what Clear Cryptos is, there's a link down in the description below. Check them out. And I'll show you real quickly. Clear Cryptos is a project that that I've been involved with for 9+ months. They've been in development for 2 years. Let's see, on Monday, they launched their analytics platform. And if you go to their products, click on analytics, it will take you to their analytics platform. Okay. So you can check out that. It's free to use right now. You can go check it out. Everything they launched with a swap. Check out their board of advisors. A lot of really, really good stuff here. So definitely run Clear through your own due diligence. Links down in the description below, by the way. So check them out. And by the way, as I said, I am dual live streaming to my Twitter, to this channel, and to Clear Crypto's channel. I think even to Twitch. So I'm just dual live. I'm just live streaming everywhere. Oh, Stacy, thanks for the super chat. You didn't need to do that, but I appreciate you. Thank you very much. Camille, I already talked about. I talked about Luna Classic. I don't cover Terra Luna much and I haven't, honestly, cards on the table. I haven't really looked at Luna in a while. I've looked at Terra Luna Classic. Oh, because somebody said it's 2:30. Let's see. Is he on? Okay. Thanks for somebody mentioned that it's 2:30. I agree, but there's nothing here yet. So they haven't. Oh, there we go. Let's see. Yeah, you can see, but there's nothing going on here yet. So we'll make sure the volume's up on this. Okay. So they're waiting on him. All right, I'll come back. And actually, since I've got the volume up right here, when he starts to talk, it'll come through the audio. All right. So we're waiting on Chairman Powell to come up and do his thing. So Stacy, thanks for the super chat. Whoop. Somebody's come. There he is. There's the man. All right, audio check. Let me go. When he starts talking, let me know. Drop in the chat.
Good afternoon. My colleagues and I are strongly committed to bringing inflation back down to our 2% goal. We have both the tools that we need and the resolve it will take to restore price stability on behalf of American families and businesses. Price stability is the responsibility of the Federal Reserve and serves as the bedrock of our economy. Without price stability, the economy does not work for anyone. In particular, without price stability, we will not achieve a sustained period of strong labor market conditions that benefit all. Today, the FOMC raised our policy interest rate by 75 basis points, and we continue to anticipate that ongoing increases will be appropriate. We are moving our policy stance purposefully to a level that will be sufficiently restrictive to return inflation to 2%. In addition, we're continuing the process of significantly reducing the size of our balance sheet. Restoring price stability will likely require maintaining a restrictive stance of policy for some time. I will have more to say about today's monetary policy actions after briefly reviewing economic developments. The U.S. economy has slowed significantly from last year's rapid pace. Real GDP rose at a pace of 2.6% last quarter, but is unchanged so far this year. Recent indicators point to modest growth of spending and production this quarter. Growth in consumer spending has slowed from last year's rapid pace, in part reflecting lower real disposable income and tighter financial conditions. Activity in the housing sector has weakened significantly, largely reflecting higher mortgage rates. Higher interest rates and slower output growth also appear to be weighing on business fixed investment. Despite the slowdown in growth, the labor market remains extremely tight, with the unemployment rate at a 50-year low, job vacancies still very high, and wage growth elevated. Job gains have been robust, with employment rising by an average of 289,000 jobs per month over August and September. Although job vacancies have moved below their highs and the pace of job gains has slowed from earlier in the year, the labor market continues to be out of balance, with demand substantially exceeding the supply of available workers. The labor force participation rate is little changed since the beginning of the year. Inflation remains well above our longer run goal of 2%. Over the 12 months ending in September, total PCE prices rose 6.2%, excluding the volatile food and energy categories. Core PCE prices rose 5.1%. And the recent inflation data again have come in higher than expected. Price pressures remain evident across a broad range of goods and services. Russia's war against Ukraine has boosted prices for energy and food and has created additional upward pressure on inflation. Despite elevated inflation, longer-term inflation expectations appear to remain well anchored, as reflected in a broad range of surveys of households, businesses, and forecasters, as well as measures from financial markets. But that is not grounds for complacency. The longer the current bout of high inflation continues, the greater the chance that expectations of higher inflation will become entrenched. The Fed's monetary policy actions are guided by our mandate to promote maximum employment and stable prices for the American people. My colleagues and I are acutely aware that high inflation imposes significant hardship as it erodes purchasing power, especially for those least able to meet the higher costs of essentials like food, housing, and transportation. We are highly attentive to the risks that high inflation poses to both sides of our mandate, and we're strongly committed to returning inflation to our 2% objective. At today's meeting, the committee raised the target range for the federal funds rate by 75 basis points. And we are continuing the process of significantly reducing the size of our balance sheet, which plays an important role in firming the stance of monetary policy. With today's action, we've raised interest rates by 3.75 percentage points this year. We anticipate that ongoing increases in the target range for the federal funds rate will be appropriate in order to attain a stance of monetary policy that is sufficiently restrictive to return inflation to 2% over time. Financial conditions have tightened significantly in response to our policy actions, and we are seeing the effects on demand.
I'm going to pause it there and tell you, just to remind you, right now inflation is about 8.2%, and he's saying he wants to bring it down to 2%. That is a massive move down. We know there's more federal interest rate hikes coming, but that's what he's talking about. So just FYI. Okay.
In the most interest rate sensitive sectors of the economy, such as housing. It will take time, however, for the full effects of monetary restraint to be realized, especially on inflation. That's why we say in our statement that in determining the pace of future increases in the target range, we will take into account the cumulative tightening of monetary policy and the lags with which monetary policy affects economic activity and inflation. At some point, as I've said in the last two press conferences, it will become appropriate to slow the pace of increases as we approach the level of interest rates that will be sufficiently restrictive to bring inflation down to our 2% goal. there is significant uncertainty around that level of interest rates. Even so, we still have some ways to go. And incoming data since our last meeting suggests that the ultimate level of interest rates will be higher than previously expected. Our decisions will depend on
Okay, sorry, but I'm gonna pause there and make a comment. So what people have been saying and what we've been hearing is that the December rate hike was most likely going to be maybe 50 basis points, and maybe, you know, so starting to kind of back off the 75 like they did today. So what he just kind of basically said was maybe not. We might in December might be going back to a maybe 75 basis points. So they may continue these aggressive hikes. That's basically what I heard. So drop in the comments below the chat if you think if that's kind of what you heard as well. And by the way, I'm watching the Dow and the NASDAQ on another screen. It's dropping a little bit as well.
Totality of incoming data and their implications for the outlook for economic activity and inflation. We will continue to make our decisions meeting by meeting and communicate our thinking as clearly as possible. We're taking forceful steps to moderate demand so that it comes into better alignment with supply. Our overarching focus is using our tools to bring inflation back down to our 2% goal and to keep longer-term inflation expectations well anchored. Reducing inflation is likely to require a sustained period of below-trend growth and some softening of labor market conditions. Restoring price stability is essential to set the stage for achieving maximum employment and stable prices in the longer run. The historical record cautions strongly against prematurely loosening policy. We will stay the course until the job is done. To conclude, we understand that our actions affect communities, families, and businesses across the country. Everything we do is in service to our public mission. We at the Fed will do everything we can to achieve our maximum employment and price stability goals. Thank you, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you, Colby.
Okay, so before I play it there and kind of talk about Q&A, let's hear some questions. So that's what I heard. I heard that it's most likely going to be that in December, we're going to get probably another 75 basis point raise, which is that is not what we've been kind of hearing or been leading up to this. Okay. And let me check. I've got it. Well, here, we'll do it real quickly. Let's check real quickly. So if you look right here, before I refresh this, before he said that, literally before he said that, I haven't refreshed this page. The Dow was 204. So you'll notice that the Dow itself is now dropped to 51 and the NASDAQ has moved into the red. So the Dow, the stock market, yes, I know I'm a crypto channel, but you guys know I talk a lot about stocks as well. So the stock market is starting to react to this in a negative way, and they're reacting to his comments. They're reacting to what he just said, specifically about that we were hoping, if you will, that there was only going to be like a 50 basis point raise in December and so forth, right? But crypto right now is holding steady. It's up 0.9, Ethereum, Bitcoin, et cetera. I'll keep an eye on it for you there. Okay. So crypto is doing okay, but stock right now is dumping. All right. We're going to see now we're going to do the Q&A and see what he says.
Thank you. Colby Smith with the Financial Times. On the need to slow the pace of rate increases at some point, is a downshift contingent on a string of better inflation data specifically between now and let's say the December meeting? Or is that something that the Fed could potentially proceed with independent of that data, given the lagged effects that you mentioned?
So a couple of things on that. We do need to see inflation coming down decisively, and good evidence of that would be a series of down monthly readings. Of course, that's what we'd all love to see, but I've never thought of that as the appropriate test for slowing the pace of increases or for identifying the appropriately restrictive level that we're aiming for. We need to bring our policy stance down to a level that's sufficiently restrictive to bring inflation down to our 2% objective over the medium term. How will we know that we've reached that level? Well, we'll take into account the full range of analysis and data that bear on that question, guided by our assessment of how much financial conditions have tightened, the effects that tightening is actually having on the real economy and on inflation, taking into consideration lags, as I mentioned. We will be looking at real rates, for example, all across the yield curve and all other financial conditions, and as we make that assessment.
Okay, so he said a lot of words there, right? But I'm gonna remind you of here's the things. We do have a jobs report coming out later this month. They're going to be looking at that. We have a CPI, Consumer Price Index report for that. This would be the report we get in November. This would be October's numbers. They're going to look at that. And then they have the meeting in December, right? So that we were expecting 50, now it's most likely going to be 75 basis. So that's really, they're going to look at all these different reports. That's basically what he said.
Hi, Howard Schneider with Reuters. Look, I'm sure there's going to be tons of confusion out there about whether this means you're going to slow in December or not. Would you say that the bias right now is not for another 75 basis point increase?
So what I want to do is put that question of pace in the context of our broader tightening program, if I may, and hit to talk about the statement language along the way. So I think you can think about our tightening program as really addressing three questions. The first of which was, and has been, how fast to go. The second is how high to raise our policy rate. And the third will be eventually how long to remain at a restrictive level. So on the first question, how fast to tighten policy, it's been very important that we move expeditiously, and we have clearly done so. We've moved 3.75% since March, admittedly from a base of 0. It's a historically fast pace, and that's certainly appropriate given the persistence and strength in inflation and the low level from which we started. So now we come to the second question, which is how high to raise our policy rate. And we're saying that we'd raise that rate to a level that's sufficiently restrictive to bring inflation to our 2% target over time. And we put that into our...
A couple of you guys are dropping in the comments that, and I've got dual monitors here. So yeah. So look at the Dow was down. The Dow went down to 50 and the NASDAQ went into the red, and now the Dow's back up. So this is crazy times, right? So this, and again, we've all been here. We've all heard this, but thanks for you guys letting me know in the chat. But the Dow's now back up plus 20, plus 270, and the NASDAQ's right. It was positive. Now it's there, but we'll kind of keep going with this. This is fun.
Into our post-meeting statement. Because that really does become the important question we think now is how far to go. And I'll talk more about that. We think there's some ground to cover but before we meet that test. And that's why we say that ongoing rate increases will be appropriate. And as I mentioned, incoming data between the meetings, both the strong labor market report, but particularly the CPI report, do suggest to me that we may ultimately move to higher levels than we thought at the time of the September meeting. That level is very uncertain, though, and I would say, we're going to find it over time. Of course, with the lags between policy and economic activity, there's a lot of uncertainty. So we note that in determining the pace of future increases, we'll take into account the cumulative tightening of monetary policy, as well as the lags with which monetary policy affects economic activity and inflation. So I would say as we come closer to that level, move more into restrictive territory, the question of speed becomes less important than the second and third questions. And that's why I've said at the last two press conferences that at some point it will become appropriate to slow the pace of increases. So that time is coming, and it may come as soon as the next meeting or the one after that. No decision has been made. It is likely we'll have a discussion about this at the next meeting, a discussion. To be clear, let me say again, the question of when to moderate the pace of increases is now much less important than the question of how high to raise rates and how long to keep monetary policy restrictive, which really will be our principal focus.
If I could follow up on that, to what degree was there an importance or weight given to a need to signal this possibility now, given all the concerns really around the globe about Fed policy sort of driving ahead and everybody else, dealing with their own stress as a result?
Well, I think I'm pleased that we have moved as fast as we have. I don't think we've over-tightened. I think there's very difficult to make a case that our current level is too tight, given that inflation still runs well above the federal funds rate. So I think that at this meeting, the last two meetings, as I've mentioned, I've said that there would come a point, and this was a meeting at which we had a discussion about what that might mean. And we did discuss this, and as I mentioned, we'll discuss it again in December. But there's I don't have any sense that we've over-tightened or moved too fast. I think it's been good and a successful program. That we've gotten this far this fast. Remember, though, that we still think there's a need for ongoing rate increases. And we have some ground left to cover here, and cover it we will.
Okay, so kind of watching this. So the Dow is all over the place. Just again, for those of you guys care about the stock side of this. So the Dow was up 279. Now it's only up 100. The Dow was, the NASDAQ was crossing in positive. So literally you can see real time the Dow, the stock market reacting to what he's saying, because he just gave us a little glimmer right there of maybe December may not be a 75 basis points raise. And then because earlier he said it might, right? And then crypto itself has actually just been kind of holding steady, rising a little bit. Bitcoin was at 0.8 or so. Ethereum's risen to 2.8. This is on the 1 hour. Obviously, in the 24-hour now is starting to flash and turn green a little bit as well. Cardano rising. Let's look at the top gainer. I think it may still be Dogecoin. So Uniswap now is the top riser out of the top 100, up 4.5, and Chili's they're kind of oscillating. But Dogecoin giving back a little bit on the hour. So Shiba Inu, let's take a look at it real quickly. Show you guys. So SHIB's up 1.1. It's given a little back, 1.2 rather. So again, crypto faring is being a little bit more stable, if you will, to kind of his comments. So continuing on.
Nick Tamaros of the Wall Street Journal. Chair Powell, core PCE inflation on a 3 or 6 month annualized basis and on a 12-month basis has been running in the high fours, close to 5%. Is there any reason to think you won't have to raise rates at least above that level to be confident that you are imparting enough restraint to bring inflation down?
So this is the question of does the policy rate need to get above the inflation rate? And I would say there are a range of views on that. That's the classic Taylor principle view. But I would think you'd look more at a forward, a forward-looking measure of inflation to look at that. But I think the answer is we'll want to get the policy rate to a level where it is where the real interest rate is positive. We will want to do that. I do not think of it as the single and only touchstone, though. I think you put some weight on that. You also put some weight on rates across the curve. Very few people borrow at the short end of at the federal funds rate, for example. So households and businesses, if they're very meaningfully positive interest rates all across the curve for them, credit spreads are larger, so borrowing rates are significantly higher, and I think financial conditions have tightened quite a bit. So I would look at that as an important feature. I'd put some weight on it, but I wouldn't say it's something that is the single dominant thing to look at.
If I could follow up, what is your best assessment or the staff's best assessment right now of the current rate of underlying inflation?
I don't have a specific number for you there. So there are many models that look at that. And I mean, one way to look at it is that it's a pretty stationary object, and that when inflation runs above that level, for sure, substantially above for some time, you'll see it move up, but the movement will be fairly gradual. So I think that's what the principal models would tend to say. But I wouldn't want to land on any one assessment. There are many different, as you know, people who publish an assessment of underlying inflation.
Thank you.
All right, just continuing. Look at this. Now the Dow is down 4, NASDAQ's down 79. The stock market is just all over the place, and it's again literally reacting to his comments in real time. That's kind of amazing to see, but this is how it plays out. Whereas crypto, again, I'm going to refresh this for you guys. Was 0.92. I haven't refreshed. We'll see kind of where everything is looking here. Yeah, so crypto is about has come back a little bit as far as on the overall market cap. Ethereum coming down a little bit. I think it was like 2.12, give or take. So a little bit of softening on the crypto side. We're going to see this oscillation, guys. We're going to see this kind of movement back and forth, because what we're getting truly what we're getting right here is kind of a mixed bag. And what I mean by that is that he's kind of walking both sides of the proverbial road. He's not giving us overly bearish, hawkish comments, but he's not giving us a lot from a dovish, bullish standpoint, which is not hugely shocking. Let's just call it what it is. I think we're going to continue to see this kind of oscillation in this because basically what's happening is uncertainty. That's what you're seeing, is that if he was clearly being like, very hawkish and bearish, then you would just see the markets going down. But he's giving us uncertainty. And I think you're seeing that really playing out in the stock market is that look at that. It was -4. And I just refreshed that. Now it's -202. So you're seeing a lot of uncertainty that's now creeping in. People are like, well, are we good? Are we not good? Are we going to have a 75 basis points raise or a 50 basis points raise in December? And what we're getting from this is that we don't really know. What he's basically saying is, look, we're going to continue to look at the data, and whatever the data tells us, we're going to do. Whereas kind of leading up to this, everybody was going, okay, we're going to get a 75 basis points raise today, which is what we got. But then we kind of were all expecting, they're going to kind of, start to lessen it. We'll get a 50 basis point raise in December, et cetera. That's not what we're getting. That's why you're seeing, this play out literally in real time, really in the stock side. And on crypto side, it's not as exaggerated. So if we kind of look at it, it's not as tumultuous, if you will. All right. So drop in the chat. Let me know your thoughts.
Hi, Chair Powell. Thank you for taking our questions. Gina Smile with New York Times. I wonder, do you see any evidence at this stage that inflation is or is at risk of becoming entrenched?
Is inflation becoming entrenched? So I guess I would start by pointing to expectations. So if we saw longer term expectations moving up, that would be very troubling. And they were moving up a little bit at the middle part of this year, and they've moved now back down. That's one piece of data. Shorter term inflation expectations moved up between the last meeting and this meeting. And we don't think those are as indicative, but they may be important in the wage setting process. There's a school of thought that believes that. So that's very concerning. I guess the other thing I would say is that the longer we're now 18 months into this episode of high inflation, and we don't have, a clearly identified scientific way of understanding at what point inflation becomes entrenched. And so, the thing we need to do from a risk management standpoint is to use our tools forcefully but thoughtfully and get inflation under control, get it down to 2%, get it behind us. That's what we really need to do and what we're strongly committed to doing.
Hi, Chair Powell. Thank you for taking our questions. Rachel Siegel from the Washington Post. The statement points to lag times. I'm wondering if you can walk us through how you judge those lag effects, what that timeline looks like over the coming months or even a year, and where you would expect it to show up in different parts of the economy.
Yeah, so the way I would think about that is it's a commonly for a long time thought that monetary policy works with long and variable lags, and that it works first on financial conditions and then on economic activity, and then perhaps later than that even on inflation. So that's been the thinking for a long time. There was an old literature that made those lags out to be fairly long. There's newer literature that says that they're shorter. And the truth is we don't have a lot of data of inflation this high in what is now the modern economy. One big difference now is that it used to be that you would raise the federal funds rate, financial conditions would react, and then that would affect economic activity and inflation. Now, financial conditions react well before in expectation of monetary policy. That's the way it has moved for a quarter of a century, is in the direction of financial conditions, then monetary policy, because the markets are thinking what is the central bank going to do? And there are plenty of economists that also think that once financial conditions change, that the effects on the economy are actually faster than they would have been before. We don't know that. I guess the thing that I would say is it's highly uncertain. And so from a risk management standpoint, it would be irresponsible not to ignore them, but you want to consider them, but not take them literally. So I think it's a very difficult place to be, but I would tend to want to be in the middle, looking carefully at what's actually happening with the economy. And trying to make good decisions from a risk management standpoint, remembering, of course, that if we were to over tighten, we could then use our tools strongly to support the economy. Whereas if we don't get inflation under control because we don't tighten enough, now we're in a situation where inflation will become entrenched, and the employment costs in particular, will be much higher potentially. So from a risk management standpoint, we want to be sure that we don't.
Okay, so I'm going to wrap up there as far as his side of it, because I think we're basically kind of getting the same stuff over and over again. So I'm going to give you guys a real quick recap if you want, for those of you guys who haven't been here the whole time. Here's what happened. We got a 75 basis point raise. That was in line with the expectation of what we expected today. We knew that was coming, right? So we got that. All right. Then what we were waiting for, to per Chairman Powell's comments, was guidance looking forward. Hey, in December, because on December 13th and 14th, there is another FOMC meeting, just like we're having today, where they were going to basically be coming out with another interest rate hike. The expectation was, or the question was, what was he going to say about that meeting? We were expecting a 50 basis points raise starting in December, because everybody was kind of thinking like, oh, okay, they're going to start easing off of these 75 basis points hikes. All right. Well, what he basically said today was he alluded to the fact that no, we may not be loosening that quickly. We may not be back, and we may still in December do a 75 basis points. All right, now to switch over to kind of like what's going on in the markets. What's happening is and I haven't refreshed this. So before I refresh this, it was 202, negative 202, and negative 170. Now it is negative 188, negative 170. What we literally saw was the market, really the stock market, reacting real time to what he was saying. Because here's the thing. The market was expecting him to basically say, in December, we're going to get a 50 basis points raise, because we're going to start loosening it up and start not to do these as aggressive hikes. We didn't get that. So now what we have is one word that the market hates: uncertainty. Okay. And so what Chairman Powell has created here, and what this situation has created, is created uncertainty, because now we have no real clear guidance to what we're going to get in January and in the months to follow, as far as them, raising the base interest rate. Also, our interest rate right now is running at 8.2%. And they have stated all along, and he said it constantly today, they want to get that from 8% to 2%, which is a massive move down. Okay. So we got a lot of stuff going on here. But again, what I want you to hear is, I want you to know uncertainty. And that's what has been created. And crypto and stocks hate uncertainty, period. All right. And so it's not great news, but this is what we got going on. Okay. So let's take a look real quickly at crypto and kind of what's going on with it. Now, crypto's been not as volatile, but there we go. See, now crypto was up. Now it's down 0.37. Bitcoin. Now that's, so everything's going to start moving down a little bit, and it's moving down again because of uncertainty. That's what's going on. So we didn't get a real clear delineation. So just to line up and kind of tell you about the stuff coming. Okay. So we have a jobs report coming out later this month. Now, the jobs report, what's going on is that we got people quitting and all this kind of stuff. And so all the job markets is out of line, and all this, basically the jobs report we're going to keep an eye on. We got a CPI report coming later this month, and we have the elections this month, big, huge, massive thing as well. And we've got the next Federal Reserve meeting on December 13th and 14th. We got a lot of ground to cover. Volatility, uncertainty, and volatility. So there you go. So that's what I got for you. I'm going to give you guys probably about a 10-minute call. Any questions, drop them in the chat. I will answer them as we go. Thanks for spending some time with me. We had like 900 plus people. If you haven't already done so, hit that subscribe button below. Definitely subscribe. Give me a try. Stick around. I make content every single day. I talk a lot about this in all of my videos, all the macro factors and how it impacts Cardano and Shiba Inu and Dogecoin and Bitcoin, Ethereum, because I have one goal, is to keep you updated and informed, so you know what the heck's going on. So if you're new to me, hey, hit that subscribe button below and stick around and just see what we got going on there. So Yeah. So we got a lot of stuff moving. So definitely drop in the Dark, the decision was 75 basis points. So they raised it 75 basis points. Okay. So that's what they raised it today. And we also we may be having another one of those in December. Oh, what is this? Lord worship. Before you leave, what's your favorite music genre? Just curious. Wow. Okay, that's kind of cool. So I'm a child of the. I'm the child. I was a teenager back in the 80s. So I grew up with like Motley Crue and Metallica and all that. So I still listen to all that today. Yes, I know. You're like, what? Yeah, I love classic rock, but on a day-to-day level, I listen to a lot of country. So my interests go all the way from country to Pink Floyd to classic rock and Metallica, Motley Crue. I grew up with all that. My mother always loved Pink Floyd and classic rock, and so Eagles and all that. So that's what I listen to. But that's a good question. Thanks. So Jeremy, this is honestly the time that people should be happy to be part of. Nearly every coin is severely undervalued, and it's a good entry point. Yeah. So that's a really good point, Jeremy. And the fact of the matter is, and I've said this in a lot of videos, is that everything's on sale right now. Millionaires and 100,000aires are made now by buying low. Okay. And so just remember that. Okay. So you heard it here first, right? Okay. So Daniel, do I think Ethereum is going to tank more and go lower? So Daniel, there's an interesting thing playing out. There's a lot of technical analysis out there that says that a lot of it was talking about what happened today is that Bitcoin and Ethereum could bounce back up and then possibly Bitcoin finding its low around 15,000 and Ethereum finding its low around 700. If we get a really tumultuous November election, we get a bad jobs report and we get a bad CPI, you can expect to see Bitcoin and Ethereum to drop dramatically. So there we go. Let me see. Oh, listen to this. Foxy, Austin naps to Metallica. Actually, I don't. That's a good point. Austin naps to Metallica. That's funny. All right. Hey, Tom, I don't ignore Floki. I just don't cover it. There's only so much bandwidth. I have no problem with Floki. It's a good project. I haven't looked at it in a long time. I wish Floki all the best. So there you go. So Frank, thank you. I appreciate that. So yeah, definitely hit the subscribe button below if you haven't. Austin naps to Metallica. Do I like CCR? No, CCR never got me. I can't remember their lead singer. I didn't like his voice. I think they have good music, but it was just never, it was never my jam, if you will. So Mohammed, does this mean crypto will go down again? Yeah, I think there's a possibility. I think we've got some kind of rough waters ahead of us. But again, you guys know me. I have a very long-term view of crypto. I mean, we're at a $1 trillion market cap right now, guys. This is early. I mean, you lock in low cost now. Again, not investing advice, right? I mean, going down is part of the overall macro conditions right now. We're in very rocky, rough waters right now as far as like what we just saw, right, with the Fed and the interest rate and inflation and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, I think we got some more rough waters ahead, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. All right. I mean, it's not fun, but you get my point. You can lock in lower costs is what I'm trying to say. Ivan, did the Fed increase interest rate? Yes, they did. 75 basis points, which is what we were expecting. Okay. Let's see. Ray, here's the thing. Here's what I would tell you. It's a great question. So if you're talking about basically here's how I look at it. I think if you're looking at buying anything, Cardano, Bitcoin, Shiba Inu, DCA dollar cost average in, you can never really perfectly time it. Again, not investing advice to it's right for you, right? Disclaimers. But just DCA in, put a little bit in every day. If that's kind of what you're asking me. Okay. So what we got? I hope I say your name right. Beret. What do you think about metaverse example Axie when everything goes up? Hey, you know what? Axie, Sandbox, those are all fantastic metaverse plays. I think that long term, they're both good. They're both great projects and good companies and things of that nature. So yeah, there's a lot of new stuff coming on the metaverse. And I think that whole market has yet to really, really, develop into what it will be. Have you taken profits on SHIB or you just, I'm Naz, I'm holding SHIB until we go up dramatically. So that's where I'm at. Let's see. Kishu Inu. I don't follow Kishu. I wish them all the best. Steve, my thoughts on Lunk. I've covered it. I think that Lunk needs to get more utility, which I know is coming, and I think it's going to take years for the burns to go into effect to be dramatic. That's not a bad thing. But here's what I love about Lunk. I love the community. I love what they're doing, and it will take some time for it to continue to develop and really, really, really develop more so into a community token. And I love the initiative, and the Terra Rebels, I think, are running it really, really well. And I think I love the collaborative nature of the proposals and the collaborative nature of what they're doing. I think it's really, it's going to be cool to see them develop more. Right. Okay. Tom, you're welcome, man. No problem. JD, thanks, JD. Appreciate it. So Blessing Uma, should I sell everything, or is there any chance of a bull run this year? So here's the thing. I mean, there's always a chance of a bull run, right? And but here's what I would say. I'm not going to tell you to sell or not. I can't do that. That's not, you have to do what's right for you. I would tell you that how I look at it, what helps me get me through the day, is I have a long-term view. So I am actually buying at times like this. So I'm buying and but don't misunderstand. I own some Bitcoin. I bought it when it was at 50,000. So I'm not going to tell you that that we haven't all been caught in one way or the other by the year that is 2022. But I also believe in one thing. I believe that crypto is going to go back up. I believe that the entire crypto market capitalization is going to go back up. A big thing that's going to help that is regulation that's coming next year. And I know I just said a bad word to some people, but regulation is going to open up the floodgates to trillions of dollars of money that wants to flow into crypto once it kind of gets, it gets more legitimate, air quotes intended. I think it's legitimate, but you get my point. For kind of Main Street America, Main Street world is waiting for that, for kind of that regulation component. My point to you is this, is that I'm buying. That's where I'm at. Okay. Let's see. MP, do I think SHIB will be a penny? Yeah, I think SHIB has a definite shot of being a penny. Again, we have to have massive burns. A tremendous amount has to be burned. So we're waiting on Shibarium, and I think with Shibarium and all the utility transactional burns that will be coming through the ecosystem will help. I think it's very, very doable for us to be burning north of 100 trillion tokens per year with that, and with the kind of the continued build out of the ecosystem. So I think, yes, it's doable, but it's not tomorrow. It's years away from now. It's massive burning, and probably another 2 to 3 million holders, which will come over time, because I've said this before. Shiba Inu is kind of what I consider a gateway crypto, meaning it brings people into crypto. They come into Shiba Inu because it's a top 15 crypto, and because of its price, and because of global availability. So there you go. Yeah. Oh yeah. By the way, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you, Foxy. So if you haven't already done so, hit that subscribe button below. Please give me a shot, man. I'm all about just trying to grow the channel and helping you guys, because I have one goal: to help you know what's going on in crypto, everything, all that kind of stuff. Okay. All right. So let's see what else we got. Yeah, Naz, I mean, there's no reason not to continue to add to your bag. There's kind of a DCAN, right? Dollar cost average in, but again, it's got to be the right scenario for you. And don't just own Shiba Inu. Don't just own Cardano. Don't just own Ethereum. Again, I talk about this all the time, right? Be diversified, right? I mean, have a really good diversification strategy. And I've talked a lot about that. Hey, Nitesh, I love VeChain. I think VeChain's underrated. I think it's a good one, and I think it's out there. I don't cover it a lot on the channel, but I am a huge fan. You talk about massive utility. I mean, they're out there doing the thing. So I'm definitely a fan. Stevie Ray Vaughan. I love Stevie Ray Vaughan, and I saw Stevie Ray Vaughan in concert one time before I knew who he really was. I was young. He opened for the Moody Blues. My mom and my dad took me to see the Moody Blues, and Stevie Ray Vaughan opened for them. 80% of the show, he sat on the edge of the stage. He just sat and jammed. It was one of the coolest things. So yeah, that was a cool thing. I do love Stevie Ray Vaughan. In fact, now you reminded me, I'm going to go pull him up on Pandora and play some Stevie. So yeah, there you go. Oh yeah. So, hey, reminding you, thanks for that, Angela. If there's, let me show you this. If you go to either my Twitter account or Clear Cryptos, I've got an AMA tomorrow with the Clear Cryptos team. That's clearcryptos.com. There's links in the description below. Check it out. So tomorrow at 5 o'clock Dallas time, definitely, if you can, stick around, be there for that. It's going to be a really fun AMA talking with the Clear Cryptos team. I thought I was showing you that. Apologize. It's going to be an AMA with the Clear Cryptos team. So thanks for that, Foxy. An AMA with them, and Zach Humphreys will be on there with me. Learn about a really, really great project. They've launched their analytics and trading platform, version 1 of that. They've got obviously their swap is like none other. It's amazing. They've got a board of directors that consists of a retired FBI assistant director, NASCAR team owner, a United States ambassador. The list goes on and on. So check them out. So thanks for that, Foxy, for reminding people about that. Okay. Let's see. Francis, I don't have an opinion about Pi Network. I just don't know much about them. I remember them. I just don't have an opinion. If you're doing well in it, awesome. Right. So just continue to answer a few questions here. What do you think crypto goes up? Again, I think, hey guys, there's a lot of volatility in the market right now. And so I think we got to get past this volatility. So remember, again, we have November elections here in the States. We have a jobs report coming in November. We have a CPI inflation report coming, consumer price index coming. And we have another Federal Reserve rate hike coming in December 13th and 14th. So we got a lot of stuff coming. Okay. Let me see. Think about anything else. So, Cameron, my thoughts about Gala. I'm a huge fan of Gala. I think they're a great company. My buddy Zach loves them. I don't own any of Gala, but I think what they're doing is they got some cool stuff that they're doing. So anyway, excuse me. All right, guys, I think we're going to wrap up with that. I want to thank you guys for spending some time with it. Let me see if there's anybody live streaming right now that I can tell you real quickly. So, nope, just me. So, there you go. So, all right. So that's what I'm going to wrap up. So thank you for spending some time with me. It's been interesting to watch what happened with the Federal Reserve. So again, we're going to recap. Federal Reserve has, you know what? Let's do this before we wrap up. Let's take a look real quickly at. So I'm going to refresh the screen. I haven't refreshed it since we looked at this. Let me get rid of that. Let's see where we're at. So, okay. So the Dow's come back a little bit. It was down 188. Now it's only down 60. So we've got a lot of volatility right here in this Powell. It is, quote, very premature to talk about pausing interest. We knew he wasn't going to pause. What we were hoping was that they would back off. And so what we got today per Chairman Powell's speech was we got uncertainty. He didn't come out and say, yep, absolutely. We're basically going to back off. We're not, and in December, we're going to do a 50. Not that we expected him to say that, but what happened was we got uncertainty. He kind of was like, you would say one thing and then kind of contradict himself and all this kind of stuff. So we've got uncertainty in the market. So let's take a look at crypto. So before I refresh this, the last time I was here, it was down 0.37. And so now it's down 0.59. Okay. So we got Bitcoin, Ethereum turning red again on the 1 hour. And pretty much everything is turned red again. Like Dogecoin was up. I think, what was it? It was up like 3.5%. So it's had a 5% move back down to almost down 2% on the 1 hour. Okay. So again, volatility. And we're going to have volatility probably for the remainder of the year. That's just what it is. Okay. So there we go. All right. So guys, truly thank you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button below, drop a like on this so we can tell the algorithm that we're here. And as always, thank you for your support of my channel. I truly thank you. You guys have given me a voice in this crazy crypto world. And I want you to know I truly appreciate it. So thank you so much. And I'll see you later and I'll be back. Have a good one.